Okay, a lot of you might already know I have crashed my car. If you don't, press somewhere over here, over there to watch the video of what happened and how it happened. So let's get straight to rebuilding it. I've already gotten rid of the wing and the light. Anyways, we have to change the suspension arm, the ball link, but we have a slight problem. You see, this right here is actually the engine of the car. That right there is the long bolt which holds the suspension arm in place. So this might cause a really big problem and we might have to take out the engine or just lift it up, but we'll figure that out in a bit. I've got all my parts ready. All we need to do is fit it. And one more thing, you might have seen in the last video that this wheel was completely shattered. And I said,
yeah, that wheel's not going anywhere.
However, I found a place which actually welded it in for me. You see, I had to do this because I could either buy 4 new sets of wheels, which were close to 300 and above, or I could give my man 60 quid and he'll weld this for me, and it's perfect, which means everything is ready. So now let's begin.
Okay, next up we gotta get rid of the inner tie rod because it's completely bent.
Black like Hollister, I'm the stereotype abolisher. For the past 10 years I've been making bare paper, call me the deforester. Yeah, I slide down the banister, cause I'm gassed like a butane canister. You can't stand the heat, get the fuck out the kitchen, hasta la vista. Yeah.
Okay, so next up we're gonna get rid of the rubber to put onto the new inner rod, because I only bought the inner rod because the outer rod is actually completely fine. It's only the inner rod that's bent, so we're gonna try to get that rubber off and put it onto the new one. And finally, after a bit of grease, I got it off. The next step is to get rid of this ball on the ball joint. Now, there's no actual spanner for this size, so you have to use a different tool just to try and get it off. Now, it's not a complete ball. You just have to put a bit of tension on it and it should come right off. Then by comparing the new part, I realized how bad the damage actually was. And now it's time to take responsibility of my own actions and start repairing the vehicle. And I quickly realized the rubber wouldn't come out on that side, and the bolt itself was way too tight. So I came up with a plan to just cut it off, since we're gonna throw it away anyways, as this is the old part and we only need the rubber part for it.
I'm a non-believer, so I can't see you in the distance. Picture the game as a whole is healthy like the boy better know T business. James my witness, I'm a musician, I'm skeptic. 3 of us talk, then we make a decision. You know me, I've got good vision. Rude boy, listen, don't fuck about to be a rude boy missing when the goons start fishing. I'm an Elohim kid, I got the good snakes hissing. Me, the shot that you couldn't really see made the dream come true. After years of wishing, after years of dissing, after years of swinging. Still do the crime and walk, no, because everything seems cloudy. I've never been robbed in a game cause I'm rowdy. Carry on, I would take a hammer to your Audi. I'm like a soldier from Saudi, you're not bad round. Wanna see D try and hound me. This next week and you still ain't found me. The phone starts ringing when I drive through boundary. And where's lethal? We ain't in. 27 big achiever, E2 weaver, had the perceiver. Blood I emerged out of jungle fever. Volume 1 creeper, Roman street sweeper. Don't get gashed by the hour route where I get gashed by the meter. While out senior, lemons will lean your E3 teacher, LOM preacher, UK speaker, Trinidad bloodline.
Now using the old nut, we can kind of use it as a template just to see exactly where the new one would be in place. This step is actually very important, otherwise your wheel alignment will be unfixable. Next up was getting rid of the drop link. Now this was a really annoying and confusing bolt. I don't even know what it's called, but with the help of my dad I was able to get it off and we could replace the drop link. Now I'm not even certain the drop link was damaged, but it's always better to be safer and change these, because if these are bent or damaged, it could put you at risk.
Quantum leaper, the Tottenham High Streeter, SQB beater, A-star reader, 4 times community service breacher.
Next up was the bottom anti-roll bar joint, which was another one of those annoying bolts and screws inside of each other. So that took a while, but in the end we got it off. And now we can move on to the suspension arm. Now starting off with the main bolts of the suspension arm, we can use the jack on the disc brake to get rid of that tension that's holding it tight. Now as I mentioned in the start, we do have a slight problem, which is this suspension arm bolt right here. You see, it's quite a long bolt. So when we tried to take it out, it would actually hit the engine. Now just as we almost predicted, it actually hit the aircon pipe, but still it's in the way and we can't move it. So we had to figure out a way around it. Now our plan was to actually use a jack to lift it up, to both release the tension and to try and get enough space for that bolt to come out. But first off, we had a slight problem because actually when I crashed, the damage reached the engine cover. So we had to force the engine cover out, otherwise it was hitting the belt and that would cause problems, stopping the engine from running properly. Okay, and finally after that's out of the way, we can try to move the engine, but don't be like me and use actual wood. I couldn't find any wood, so I just used a brick and a layer of wood on top. Using that, we put that on the jack and we tried to lift the engine up just to see how much space that would give us. And I genuinely thought we made it out, however it still wasn't enough. It was almost there, but it was still not good enough, so we had to figure out a different way. We tried force booting it, but no luck. So then we decided to try to get the bolt actually under the aircon pipe instead of above it to see if that would work. But yet again, this did not work either. So we came up with a final plan, and that was to actually remove the bottom engine cover to see if that would give us enough space to actually get the bolt out of it.
Stop riding me like you wicked like Sharky. You better know that boss I make dumpy. Come cross me and survive, that's lucky. You better know that boss I make dumpy. Come cross me and survive, that's lucky. Yo, them can't want to like me.
Now with the cover off, we're going to retry the jack method, and this is our final option. After this, we have to take the engine out, so we're hoping this works. And what do you know it, as soon as we lifted up, there was no more tension on the bolt, and we got it out. Finally that everything's off, we can finally start fitting the new stuff back in. First off, we've got the suspension arm, and this was a heavy weapon. Just shows how strong Volvos really are.
When the gas roll me more time and anger. Become I have problems with my family. My shop works so my mom can't stand me. At least man didn't go to be a
Now no matter what I was doing, the bolts just wouldn't go in properly. So I decided to take it out and see what was wrong. It turns out it's actually a pretty simple explanation. With brand new parts, there's a layer of paint that obviously comes onto the part. However, sometimes this layer of paint is actually quite thick, especially around the bolts. So what happens is this thickness stops the bolt from going in properly. So what you have to do is put the bolt in and back out just on an empty canvas. This way it will shave away against the paint and give you enough space. This actually solved the issue, so we put that bolt in and moved on to the next. Then we could put everything else in and finally be able to move the car. Now we can lower the jack, get rid of all the tension that's on the engine, and we can put the engine cover back onto the engine block.
Be like here, not a silly cartoon. Black hood, white tee, my costume. Jump in my GT, sing, sing, zoom. See me on TV, boom, boom, zoom. Enough MCs wanna.
Now we can start putting the inner tie rod back in, the one we repaired. Putting a zip tie in the end just to hold it down because we can't let any water or anything get inside of this. Now preferably you should probably use a metal clip, that's safer. But if you don't have any, you could just use a zip tie. It's not a big deal, but if you want to take the extra precaution, use a metal clip. Now the most important step is not forgetting to tighten that ball joint, because if that's not tight, then you're finished. Now the only hard part here is to actually get access to the zip tie to tighten it down. But after a bit of struggling, we were able to reach it and got it tightened. Now tightening the ball on the other end, this part is finally done. Next up, we could move on to the drop link, tightening the top bolt. Now this metal part isn't on all cars, however it is on this car because this metal card actually holds the ABS wire to the brakes. So forgetting this will put you at high risk. Now that all the parts by the suspension area is fitted, the car should be able to both drive and steer perfectly fine. We quickly turned on the engine just to see if the timing belt was hitting the cover, which it wasn't. Now putting the wheel on and checking the alignment, checking if everything spins properly. And everything looked good, so time to head to bed and wait for the next part.
Okay, so the wings just arrived. Obviously the color is a little bit different. The wheel arch has also arrived. Anyways, let's get this painted. So first off, we need to get rid of the petrol cap because we're going to use that to figure out what color it is. I do know the color code actually, it's 466, but it's always better to be sure. Now we're also going to get the spoiler painted.
And while I was waiting for that to arrive, I decided to make a custom grille for the car just to be different, I think. So my plan is pretty simple, is to cut all these grid lines and spray paint it black to have like an outer lining. I think the car looks pretty good without the grille, but it also looks out of place, so I just want to sort that out and make it look a bit neater.
Stupid like you don't know me, yeah, when I wake up the man got cozy. Try sound like H on a low key, but can't take with my title. Dark shades, raincoat, roll with a rifle. It's so obvious I must be an idol. Yo, this a waste man, can't be my rival. What does this MC think? Take my style and try make a drink. Use my name and try get a link. Shot at your face before you could blink. See, I'm way too gully. Man, take my tune home, sit down, study. You try to take man's money. I try this man and don't say sorry.
Next up, buying the right color paint and handing it over to the body shop to paint the wing. Now I just gotta prep the wing, give him the paint and leave him to it. Came back the next day to this beauty.
Free, put it in my PC, track 16. When I got to free, I got my lyric book started buzzing. Rhythm set my mind free. I'm writing a lot, unlikely to stop. Look at the clock, blood, it's free. Gonna write more, that's what I'm here for. Give it to you lot for free. I'm an angel, I cut the devil in half. I cut him down to free.
Okay, new day, new haircut. The sun's out. I've got some grape juice. It's time to finish off this build. So all the parts are ready. The wing is painted, the spoiler is painted. The grille's cut, that needs to be painted still. We're gonna get to that. But it's time to finish this car off once and for all. Okay, we've got all the parts we need. The first thing we need to put on is the fender wing thing. So we're gonna start off with that. We also need to get rid of this front splitter because it is broken and it doesn't suit the car anymore. We also have to spray paint This girl black, which we've cut, is gonna give a more aggressive look to it. So does that splitter, but honestly, because it's broken, and even while it's broken, it still looks aggressive, but we have to get rid of it. So let's straight away begin with the fender wing thing. Obviously, we've got to put the AliExpress tire cover back on.
Numbers written on papers, needing favors, could have been cynical. Them man are online, but I do physical. First 10 bag on the street was spiritual. Ain't no one.
So this is the difference. This one is slightly darker, but you can't really tell. I'm gonna use the old bracket just because it has all the screws and everything, and probably not gonna make a big difference, but I don't want to take any risk. Now, should we put the R badge back on the new one?
Caught another and he got 30. Money on mine, I gets up early. Gonna grind till the gates are pearly. Think you're swaggy, your jeans are baggy, you're way too catty. Them man are nerdy. Trapping life and I started with it. Could've got recalled outside Barclays. Uncle gave me a parking ticket.
New one on.
You would think they're homeless cause they're begging it. Big zoo, I get Uber Eats. I see money from my wheels, but I ain't on pedaling. Came in the game, you can say that I'm shaking it. Cause of that 100 M's, I ain't settling. Top is the only place that man's heading in. Also, top from your girl is tune. Family that.
Okay, so fitment wise, this was a bit bent, like it was fully inwards. I had to get it out, but so far looks good. Color is ever so slightly different. Like I said, it is a little bit tighter, but after a polish it should look all right. Plus, I don't want to do too much on this car because this next project car that I'm gonna do is gonna be crazy. You guys are gonna love it, but for now, let's get this on.
Think that's posh, but man, I'm from slums. Your wifey's got no back, you're a bum.
Low-key stepper, tracky and hoodie, jug and boogie, Tookie's cousins, pack how could he? Ends are boring, uptown touring, disturbing London like Dummy. Yardie party, I did get shubby, smoking it.
Okay, so what's happened is with the accident, this structure has actually gone inwards because it crashed into here. The wheel must have hit that, which causes this. If I tighten it like this, see the lining there would not fit. So what we need to do is we need to hammer this out ever so slightly.
Got step with the brothers with me, know it's a banger, Capo and Big Z.
No, it's a banger, Zoo and Capo. Us man a big fish, them man a tapo.
Think you got slag cause your cargo's camo. I got slag and my dance is Ramo.
I got a belly and it's way too blammo. Shells for your head top, constant ammo.
Constant pressure, I got pizzazz, pagans can't measure.
Louis Vuitton, Gucci is leather.
Living my life, movie endeavor.
Man are upset cause the flows are better.
You ain't got bread, that's a real home wrecker.
Your birds on wood, you're a real good pecker.
Money on mine, I'm a serious stepper, bow.
So we've actually got one more bolt hidden right behind there, right there. Yeah, that fitment is just not good at all. This part's coming out and I have no clue why.
When it turns out that's actually because I missed a bolt. There was another bolt behind the wing. There was another bolt just hidden behind the arch.
Talk to me nicely. I just spent like 50 on a white tee. Let's go out and sightsee. You should stick to typing. Yeah, you should stop this talking.
Then it was time to put the bumper back on, but first we gotta get rid of that front splitter.
Just like that. Yeah. Give him a drop him a change, tell him where man is.
No days off, no days off, no days off, no days off.
Finally, I could paint the custom grill black, leave that to dry, and put that on. Now don't be like me and spray paint it on the floor, it's not a great idea. You'll get dust and other stuff on it. Use a cardboard box, or if you have a room for painting, that would be the best.
Who rose, who fell, who goes to jail, who don't is free. Did you ever hear the story about Leon? I said Leon, they said Leon. He was from the flats that the jack kids be on. Before the cats they had they cracked a fiend on. They say on the street he a fiend on. When he squeezed on, it's phenomenal. Make a change off a name like a hitman, and we'll hitman if it's reasonable. Then you all have the same reason to call. Oh, what a big misfortune if blank ceases to breathe anymore. Mac on the man or teeth in the drawer. If you ask him, he'll call it his calling. Course is the one that's receiving a call. If a price in your head.
So when I actually crashed the car, I had to rip out the old one. So this number 8 or number 10 is still on here, which would go somewhere here. I think there's two, one there, one there, one there, and the other one's broken. Anyways.
Snake him in West, that Kalas got repaid in flesh. Did you ever hear the story about Leon? I said Leon, they said Leon. He was from the flats that the jack kids be on. Before the cats they had they cracked a fiend on. They say on the street he a fiend on. When he squeezed on, it's phenomenal. Make a change off a name like a hitman, and we'll hitman if it's reasonable. Logic and reason, one thing he prees, every man's got a code.
Never hit children or women and don't bring things to your humble abode. He caught most of his bodies alone. Bodies in storage, bodies at home. Feds on a mission to catch man slipping by time they sniff.
After we've sorted that, we move on to the side skirt.
Suppose I could go to and talk about a small little problem. My problem's on Princess Road by the junction. My hunches he holds, so the hold and he punches. Ho what? Ho where? Man flang on the all black airs. Take out a man in his band.
Okay, next up is this, because if you guys don't know, well, yeah, so this needs a little adjusting.
So pretty simple fix, just take it off, put some tape on it and put it back on. This will like tighten it and sort the problem.
Name like a hitman and we'll hitman if it's reasonable. He come back one evening and even get round to put keys in the door. The ding off the lift when it came to the fifths and the shiver the kid ain't feeling before. What, did they finally find my location? Okay then, man's waiting. Then when he gradually opened the door, heard a voice said, "Oh move, mate, you're going to the station."
And I think it's quite fair to say it's time to wash the car.
His gun. He reached for the piece that he kept on the landing, but man wasn't playing and laid him with one. When the Fed tried radioing, man ran for the first window that was open. He couldn't survive that fall. Are you joking? But when he looked out, there was nobody posted.
The car does feel a bit iffy, I'll be real. Now wheel balance wise, yeah, it definitely needs tracking.
Now it's time to move on to the headlight thinners, and what this essentially does, well, I'll let me explain it.
It's basically doing this.
Then putting the AliExpress R badge back on, which I put on the AliExpress video. If you haven't watched that, go watch that. Okay, well now it's time for some slight touch-ups. You see, the grille didn't suit, the glossiness against the bumper just didn't match at all. But if I wanted to take the grille off, I'd have to take the entire bumper off. It was just long, so I decided to put some bin bags around it and just spray paint over it.
That don't work, I'll send it for another 16.
I then decided to do the same thing with the back plastic panel.
Anyway, back to my old 16s. Niggas better chill when I'm spinning out 16s, and I'm a guy by giving out 16s.
Okay, now what we've got to do is just polish this down because the color is slightly different. So we're gonna polish it just to hide it really.
And what I meant by hiding is hiding the color difference. Polishing it would just blend it a little bit.
We've got a lot of scratches on this side of the door. So what we're gonna do is I've already matted it down using some 2000 and 3000 sandpaper. I'm gonna put a number 1 on it and a number 2 polish on it and make it nicer and smoother because this is ugly. This is definitely not coming out. That's
trips the lady pool road, all I hear is pops and bangs. Go far and RS3s, just know that they're moving mad. New exhaust on the back of the whip, let's see if it pops and bangs. Told Bo that the food is bossing, so stop that fussing. Bo took one bite of the food and I thought they remapped his burger. He was dumped in the back of the whip, would've thought it was a real life murder. Forgetting Nando's on the weekend, I'd rather go herbal shawarma. I told Bo stop winning red lights, I ain't got time for drama. Rum Town, can you hear me now? Cause I'm speaking up. They said that they're better than me, but they keep.
That's actually really good, but we're gonna put a number 2 on it just to give it perfect shine.
Now we've got some original Volvo paint. Now we've got this little brush and we're just gonna touch up around the body, get rid of all those little scratches, marks and anything else.
Stay calm, just breathe, just know that you got it with ease. Set man be itching for gal, really would've thought that the man had fleas.
Okay, now because of the crash, all of this is scratched. So we're gonna get some 2000 and you need to make sure this is wet. I like to use glass cleaner, but you could just use water. Do it around for a little bit, but not too much, because then you end up getting through the paint, then you'll be in trouble. Because that means you have to paint the entire bumper.
On the weekend, I'd rather go herbal shawarma. I told Bo stop winning red lights, I ain't got time for drama. Rum Town, can you hear me?
You'll notice that this part is no longer polished, it's no longer shiny, it's now matte. So what do you do now? Well, now you get 3000. You want to make it wet again and use it a little bit. Now you want to go wider. If you've gone over here with 2000, you want to go over here with 3000.
Till the government have to put a bullet in my boy, better know T. When are these niggas gonna see? These MCs ain't the same as me. I had a crime hit in 2003. God gave me a body and blessed it. You see my fingers, they made dub me. Private caller, DTI, top producer.
I don't know if you can tell, but the primer on this paint is actually lifted right here. So we're gonna do the same thing on this and see if it fixes it.
And they wanna hate on Shaho, man. Rude boy, you see the hype on these MCs are getting old. How many units have they sold? Never go platinum, never go gold. When I make a tune, it's totally...
And finally, the car is done and back to its original state.
Turn green. How can he ever be the best in the scene when he's still trying to make a better tune than fucking with the team? You don't want to see me on the scene. Last thing you hear is a bang and a scream. Better match man want me on their team because they know from a bus and shot heads are coming up. I'll put a bullet in your beam, bullet in the cane roll, bullet in the lean. Put on the same.
Alright, bye.